Hello everyone, I welcome you all to Manu Law Classes Current Affair Analysis. In this particular video, we will discuss The Hindu July 24th Delhi edition newspaper. Our main topic of concern for today is about RDSO. Then we will discuss about Jamia Millia Islamia West Asian branch. Then we will discuss about ITPO complex. Then we will discuss about Mihir Bhoj and also about a new Telangana subsidy bill. Then in the editorial section, we will discuss about the diplomacy of India and its internal relations. And then in the editorial section, we will discuss about the artificial intelligence. And from the text and context section, we will discuss about the enforcement directorate and about the tuberculosis. So these are our main topics and we will discuss other news also along with that. So starting our very first news, that is about railway post Balasore plan. So we all know that there was a multiple train collision in Balasore on June 2nd and a lot of casualties occurred, a lot of people died in this particular accident. So here basically the railway is trying to speed up its overhauling of signal system at all the stations. Earlier when this proposal was given about overhauling and converting it into the completely electrical mode, and there will be no human interference. So it was earlier given only for the major station. But now all the station will be covered for this particular overhauling project. So first we will understand about what is an overhaul. So overhaul involves converting the system from conventional relay interlocking to electronic interlocking technology, which is harder to tamper with. So this is the basic definition of what is overhaul. So in 2011, in the year of 2011, RDSO suggested that there should be overhauling, or this overhaul should be completed in major stations. But after the major station are being covered in 2013-14, it wanted to extend this overhauling to all the important stations. So here basically the overhauling has to be extended in order to avoid these kind of accidents. So here we see that in the 12 years since the electronic interlocking technology was introduced in the country, less than 40% of the 7,325 railway stations have been made to switch. So here this data is very important, as we know that in India the technology is there but we are not working as per we should do. Now depending on the station size, the cost of revamping ranges between 5 crore and 20 crore, and that is the major problem. Apart from that, if there is a switching over taking place for the overhauling, so the station or the railway track need to shut down. In a busy road we cannot shut down, or in a busy route we cannot shut down the train, because it can hamper our all daily functional thing or daily purposes thing. So that's why the overhauling has not been done till now in all the station, and that is the main point which is being covered in this particular article. Now we will discuss in detail about RDSO, as RDSO has given this particular provision of overhauling, and RDSO in 2011 gave this proposal of overhauling or completely converting all these manual thing into the electrical aspect, okay, so that human interference can be avoided. Talking about RDSO, so RDSO full form is Research, Design and Standard Organization. It is based in Lucknow and it is headed by Director General, who is of the rank equivalent to the General Manager of Zonal Railways. Okay, his rank is equal to General Manager of Zonal Railways. Now talking about what does it do, what does RDSO do, what is the main function. So it is a sole research and development wing of Ministry of Railways. Okay, it is a sole research and development wing of Ministry of Railways, and it is India's leading standard formulating body undertaking standardization work in railways. It works under the supervision of the railway board. It works under the supervision of railway board, and now RDSO sets standard for various goods that are under its domain. Talking about its formation and how it was formed. So here basically the history of RDSO, we will discuss about that. So to enforce the standardization and coordination between various railway systems in the colonial era or in the British rule era, the IRCA or the Indian Railway Conference Association. It was basically set up in 1903 in the colonial time period in order to enforce the standardization and coordination between various railway stations. Then, therefore, for the preparation, design, standard and specification, a new body was formed, that is Central Standards Office. Okay, Central Standard Office, it was formed in the year of 1930. And after independence, in the year of 1952, the Railway Testing and Research Center was formed for the undertaking any intensive investigation of railway problem, providing the basic criteria and the new concept for the design. So here basically it was an investigating body. In the year of 1957, this CSO or the Central Standard Office and this RTRC, that is the Railway Testing and Research Center, these both bodies were merged and they formed the RDSO. That is what? The Research, Design and Standard Organization, and it is working under the Ministry of Railway. Okay. So this was about the brief background of what is RDSO and how it works. Moving back to our news. So here the RDSO has also suggested after the Balasore accident that there should be a removal of the copper cable with that of the optical fiber. So copper cable are basically used in the electromechanical system, while the optical fiber, they are used completely for the electronic system. So copper cable, they are used for electricity to pass through it with ease, while in the optical fiber, it transmit light signal over the long distances. So talking about the main point, first you should remember about the overhaul system, then the recommendation of the RDSO of 2011 and 2013 and 14. Then you should know that what else has been recommended after the Balasore accident. Okay, so this was about nitty-gritty of this particular news. Moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the Jamia section. Here basically Jamia Media Islamia gets center's nod for a medical college and plans to set up campus in West Asia. So as we know, the Vice Chancellor Nazma Akhtar, she said that Jamia is planning to strengthen the brand Jamia and it want to connect the alumni throughout the campus in the West Asia. So here basically it just don't want to establish a medical college, it want to establish a brand Jamia, and that's why in order to be like interactive or in order to connect people in the West Asia, it is planning to open a campus in West Asia and it will be set up sooner. Okay, so this was about this important article. Now moving further toward our next important article, that is about Modi likely to inaugurate redeveloped ITPO complex G20 Meeting. So what is important? First of all, this point is important that the redeveloped India Trade Promotion Organization complex is the venue for the G20 leaders meeting in September, which will be inaugurated in July 26. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate this particular complex. It is ITPO complex, and here basically in September G20 leaders meeting will occur. The IECC or the Integrated Exhibition cum Conventional Sector has been built as a modern complex as a part of the Pragati Maidan redeveloped project. And this proposal was first approved by the government in January 2017 at a total cost of 2,254 crores. And it was kept in mind for the need of growing MIC, which means meeting, incentive, conference and exhibition center. So here basically just remember about what is ITPO, what It will serve as a venue of what? And also about the IECC and the redeveloped Pragati Maidan redevelopment project. So here basically, according to government, this campus area will be 123 acre and it will be the largest MIC destination. ITPO is basically a body which is under the aegis of the Commerce Ministry, and among the salient feature of this new complex are the convention center with a seating capability of 7,000. So this is important about the IECC complex and also about the ITPO complex. Just remember these important points. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the news section, and here we have news from the history related aspect, that is about Samrat Mihir Bhuj. So here basically there are several villages in Rajasthan dominated by the Rajput community, and they have imposed a ban on the entry of BJP leader over the unveiling of a statue of Samrat Mihir Bhuj. So what is important for us? First, where this statue is located? So it is located in the Kaithal district and it is mentioning Gujjar. Okay. And apart from that, what is important for us is this personality, that is Mihir Bhuj. So we will discuss in detail about Mihir Bhuj. So here talking about Mihir Bhuj, he was the ruler of Gurjar Pratihara dynasty in 9th century. Okay, he was the leader of Gurjar Pratihara dynasty in 9th century, and his empire extended from Multan to Bengal. Multan in west to Bengal in east, and from Kashmir in the northern part, or from Kashmir in the north to northern Maharashtra in the south. So his empire was so big and it extended from these areas. Talking about Mihir Bhuj has made Kannauj, which was a disputed area, or it was a area for the tripartite struggle. So Mihir Bhuj made Kannauj his capital, and also he was a devotee of Vishnu. He was a Vaishnavite, and in honor of Vishnu, he assumed the titles like Varah and Prabhas. Okay, and the achievement of Mihir Bhuj has been inscribed in his Gwalior Prashasti inscription. Okay, Gwalior Prashasti inscription. In that, Mihir Bhuj, all his achievements, all his victories has been inscribed in this particular inscription. Going back to our important news that is coming in from the NSG section, and here we will discuss about the National Security Guard, but before that we will discuss about Telangana New Bill. And here basically Telangana will give 1 lakh assistance to the minority with 100% subsidy. So here the Telangana government has decided to provide 1 lakh financial assistance with 100% subsidies to the minority on the line of the scheme for the backward classes, and this will be a one-time grant. It will be extended to the beneficiary to take up any income generating activity. So only this much is important. Just remember about the scheme. Just remember about the state that which is launching these kind of scheme. Only this much is important. Moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the editorial section, and here we will discuss about the India's great power dilemma. So here basically one side we are showing our image as Vishwaguru, or we are depicting ourselves as a great global leader, and on the other side talking about the GDP or about the growth of India internal sector. So it is not as per the mark. So that's why there is a problem or there is a dilemma that should we lead the global power, should we become the global power, or we should first focus on ourselves, on our growth, and then we should go further. So here basically the author is saying, he is basically highlighting the point or highlighting the relationship of India from past, and he is comparing it with the present. So first he is talking about the 1991 time period, and here a weak, poor and deeply beleaguered country with the foreign exchange reserve of only 5.8 billion and nominal GDP of only $270.11 billion was there, and it was having a lot of population. So 50% or more than that, around 50% were poor, and we were having a very miserable condition. So after that we did a lot of struggle, and then we went for the nuclear power. We conducted our own nuclear test and we developed a strategy in order to become more empowered. So also there was an India-Pakistan conflict at that time, and also we were having some danger from China also. So that was the time when we were in a miserable condition, and also Soviet Union was basically collapsed and we were having strained relationship with the United States of America. Now talking about the present time, here after 3 decades in 2023, India's foreign exchange reserve has grown and it is somewhere around $600 billion. And also, a war with the Pakistan is not something Indian leaders lose sleep over, and China has taken that place too. Like, we are not focusing much on India-Pakistan conflict, we are focusing on India-China conflict, and we are not that much feared of Pakistan being at war, we are feared about the China being at war. So here basically the reforms also improved our status or improved our condition. 1991 economic crisis, then after that we introduced the LPG reforms, and after that our GDP is growing. But it does not mean that our GDP is growing. It does not mean that we are actually growing or we are actually reducing the poverty. So that is the main reason that the author is saying that in India, India is ranked among the fifth largest economy, and India's nominal GDP will touch $4 trillion, and it has one of the largest militaries in the world with 100 nuclear weapons. The US is India's best friend right now, and also we are having good relationship all around the world. So that's why this is good that we are having such a great relationship. But talking about India's internal or India's condition at internal level, there are millions of people who are living under poverty, and also the country's national, as we see that whether it's case of flood or whether it's case of anything, our cities get drowned, our national capital is getting drowned, and that is the major reason that we are not that much good in infrastructure and all these problem or all these basic problem we are dealing with. So here basically one side is very great that we are getting a good relationship with other countries, but on the other side our GDP per capita is just $1947 in 2021, whereas if we see in Bangladesh condition, it is a small country compared to India, but it is having a dollar 2227 GDP per capita income. That means that though we are growing militarily and our relationship at the global level is increasing, but that doesn't mean that we are working for country's population or we are having, it does not equal to the gross material power that the state can bring in its foreign and security policy. Along with that, there is major infrastructural lag, there is major governance issues lag. We have introduced an index called Ease of Doing Business Index, but that doesn't mean that there is an easy way of doing business, because even before starting a business, it cannot be started without a bribe. So these are the major problem which we are facing right now. So that is the main reason. Apart from that, we have issues like regional, caste, ethnic, religious division among the people, and that is causing a decline in India's internal sector. So basically what is India's political class concern should be, it is should be to reduce poverty and improve the well-being of millions of people who are living under the poverty line, and a task would be to divert its attention from the serious external engagement. That's what the author is saying. When the political class gives scant attention to the country's foreign and security policies, as it usually happen in the case of India, managed by career bureaucrats who usually do not diverge from the precedent and avoid taking even remotely risk decisions. So here basically the author is saying it's good that we are chairing G20 meetings, we are having good relationship with the USA, we are having a lot of bilateral partnership with many other countries, but we should also focus on India's economy, and we should also focus on the welfare scheme which should be introduced for the people to bring them out of the poverty line. Okay, moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the editorial section, and here there is a case for the new pronoun for artificial intelligence. As we know, I have given you so many times the example of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is what? It is nothing but a large language model. And here basically they are conversing with humans like they are a human expert and they are doing a very great job. But the problem lies here that whether what should be the pronoun given to them, whether we should give them he, whether we should give them she, or whether we should give them it. What kind of pronouns we should give to the artificial intelligence models or the AI models. So here basically there is an instance where the author is saying that computer scientist Alan Turing, he proposed an imitation game to test the machine ability to demonstrate intelligent behavior that is indistinguishable from that of the human. And basically the machine, sometimes we say that they are passing the Alan Turing test and sometimes it fails. So here basically the author is giving an example of Siri. Siri by default language is that of a female, but it also has a feature or it also has a voice alternative masculine or gender neutral voices. But usually Siri is in female or it is a default typecast where Siri is in female, which is used by Apple. Apart from that, the author is saying that Google's Smart Compose technology, it basically auto-completes the sentence on Gmail and it is very careful not to predict the pronouns to avoid exposing unconscious gender bias in the AI model. So here basically the author is saying what kind of pronoun should be used for the artificial intelligence and how it can be used to satisfy the people needs and also to satisfy the author's need that how they should represent artificial intelligence as. So it is about this particular article. Moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the text and context section, and here basically the news is about the Maharashtra High Court on July 14 upheld the legality of Minister V. Senthil Balaji arrest by the Enforcement Directorate and his subsequent remand in the judicial custody in money laundering case linked to a cash for job scam. So here basically there are two important cases which is mentioned in this particular ruling, and here the judge who accepted senior advocate Kapil Sibbal's argument on behalf of the petitioner that ED officials are not police officers as per the law, which is laid down by the Supreme Court in Vijay Mandalan Chaudhary versus the Union of India case 2022. Just remember about this important judgment, and here the author is saying or the judge said that enforcement directorate officials are not police official and hence the remand of Balaji to judicial custody as per section 167 of the CRPC. So since section 65 of the PMLA, that is Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it stipulates that the provision of CRPC shall apply subject to the condition that the same are not inconsistent with those of the PMLA. But there is also a misinterpretation that the term police has to be read synonymous with the investigating agency or the enforcement directorate. But it was also observed by the Supreme Court official that ED official are not the police official, and only by the reason, for example, in front of police, if someone is giving his statement, it is not considered or it is not admissible under the trial court. But in case of enforcement directorate under the PMLA Act, if anything, any statement given by the convict, then it is regarded as a proof. So here basically the court is saying that it should be not consistent, or the section 65 of the PMLA stipulates that the provision of the CRPC shall apply subject to the condition that the same are not consistent with that of the PMLA. In P. Chidambaram versus the Directorate of Enforcement 2019, the Supreme Court rejected a prayer for the anticipatory bail with respect to an offence of money laundering and proceeded to grant custody to the Enforcement Directorate. This has been mentioned by the Enforcement Directorate to get the grant of Senthil Balaji custody by the Enforcement Directorate. So this was about this important article. Moving further toward our next article, that is about will generic supply of bedaquiline be accessible. So here basically in this particular article it has been said that the drug-resistant tuberculosis medicine bedaquiline, its license has been expired, or its barrier has been expired, and now the patent of Johnson and Johnson patent, it has expired on July 18. So now there will be maybe a launch of a generic medicine which can help the drug resistant or multiple drug resistant tuberculosis. So here on July 18, this particular drug named as bedaquiline, which has been patented by Johnson and Johnson, it expired. Now Johnson and Johnson has filed secondary patent over bedaquiline till 2027, but it has till now, it was granted by 66 countries, and it included 34 countries with high burden of TB and multiple drug resistant TB and HIV. So here basically India has not till now given this particular permission to them, and now India is planning to launch a generic medicine. What is the benefit of generic medicine is that they are cheaper, because in India there is a lot of instances, there are a lot of cases of the tuberculosis. So that's why the government want to lower down the price of these medicines, which include drug resistant tuberculosis, and hence the government is planning to launch a generic medicine for the bedaquiline as an alternative of it. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from this particular NSG team visit blast hit restaurant in Shimla to ascertain the cause of incidents. So here we will discuss in detail about what is NSG, what are the role played by the NSG. So here just write down some few important point about NSG. NSG, or the National Security Guard, NSG. NSG is basically a counter-terrorism unit, and it was formally came into existence in 1986 by an Act of Parliament, that is NSG Act 1986. So the idea behind raising such a force was, it came after the aftermath of the Operation Blue Star. I have already explained you in my previous DNA about what is Operation Blue Star, what is the Khalistan issue. So just refer to those videos to get to know about what is Operation Blue Star. So after the aftermath of this particular Operation Blue Star, NSG need was founded, and that's why NSG was formed through the NSG Act 1986. Now it operates under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, it operates under the Ministry of Home Affairs, and it is a task-oriented force, and it has two complementary elements such as a Special Action Group and Special Ranger Group. The motto of NSG is Sarvatra Sarvottam Suraksha. Okay, and it has always upheld by it with a focus on its basic philosophy of swift, speedy strike and immediate withdrawal from the threat of action. NSG has a specific role to handle this terrorism issue, and also if we talk about what are the operations undertaken by NSG, so it has undertaken Operation Black Thunder. Just study in detail about all these important operations because they are in news, so they are very famous. Then also NSG undertook Operation Ashwamedh, which was there for the Indian Airlines flight IC-427 hijacking in 1993 year. Then it also undertook Operation Thunderbolt or Vajra Shakti for the attack on Akshardham. Then it also undertook Operation Black Tornado for the Mumbai blast. Okay, so these are important operations which are undertook by the NSG or the National Security Guard. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the international relation, and here the news is coming that Japanese foreign minister to visit India this week. His name is Yoshimasa Hayashi. Okay, so just remember his name, and he will come to India later this week, and here he is basically on a tour for the 6th nation tour of Asia and Africa, and here he will also come to India, and he will focus Japan's cooperation with the Global South and the Indo-Pacific policy, which was unveiled by the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Okay, he has already visited India earlier to attend the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting, which was basically he had a talk with Narendra Modi and also with the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. But this time it will be different, as Japan is also priority, is that Japan is also holding G7 meeting presidency of this, and India has a presidency of G20. So that's why this cooperation will strengthen relationship between the government of Japan and the government of Southwest Asia and also with the Africa, and there can be a realization of the free and open Indo-Pacific trade, and here they will talk about these policies, and here they will emphasize on the special focus on South Asia, which include assisting Sri Lanka debt resolution, your debt restructuring process in a fair and transparent manner. And he will also have a good relationship and good talk with India as well as Bangladesh for the Bay of Bengal Northeastern India industrial value chain concept to foster growth in India, Bangladesh and in all these regions. Okay, so this was about important article related to foreign affairs. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the G20 disaster risk meeting, which will commence in Chennai. So here basically G20 disaster risk reduction working group under the Indian presidency is set to hold to its third and final meeting in Chennai from July 24 to July 26. And this is the first time that a dedicated working group on disaster risk reduction has been constituted, and it will signify India's commitment to address global challenges which is posed by the disaster and the climate emergencies, as there is a lot of disasters we can see in case of cyclones and all these, and they pose a lot of risk as well as they cause a lot of harm to the infrastructure and to the life of people, and that's why there should be a disaster and climate emergency summit which should deal with all the solutions and all the practices which should be followed to avoid these risks. It will bring together G20 countries and their leadership, international organization, knowledge partner to ensure a drafting in the communique encapsulating shared commitment and key recommendation regarding the working group's priority areas. So this was an important article. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the World Affairs, and here basically Elon Musk said that Twitter to change its logo to X from Bluebird, and here there will be about a Twitter. In this we see a bird is flying, so apart from that now we will see there will be a logo of X. So here this X is basically because of the SpaceX or something related to that, and now the Twitter is changing its logo. Twitter was founded in the year of 2006 and its name was because there was a play on the sounds of bird chattering, and that's why this particular site was using a bird signal or a bird image as their logo. Now the Twitter has been owned by Elon Musk, so he is basically removing the logo to X. So this was an important article. So this is all for today. I hope you like this lecture. If you like this lecture, then definitely do like and subscribe to our channel, and thank you for attending this lecture. We will discuss other news daily on a similar note in a detailed and comprehensive way. Thank you everyone.